Missile attacks, drone downing, air crash. What's a war for? Iran, Iraq, the USA, or any other country of the world? What difference does it make? Deaths and disasters on both sides. Let's live in a friendly world, a peaceful world. Let good news be received by our ears for good news. News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. To begin with, we will begin it with the headlines. US House votes to limit Trump war powers on Iran. Iran plane crash. Western powers suggest missile drowned it. Boeing 737 MAX workers said plane designed by clones. British teen in Cyprus gang rape case spared prison and set to return home. The Free the Nipple campaign. Does the US have a problem with topless women? Niger army base attack kills 25 soldiers. China's province, just 17 of our 80 million people now live in poverty. Now we will go to the stories in detail. US House votes to limit Trump war powers on Iran. The US House representatives have approved a largely symbolic resolution seeking to limit President Donald Trump's ability to make war on Iran. The measure passed by the Democratic-run chamber 224 to 194 but faces an uphill climb in the Republican-held Senate. It aims to mandate congressional approval for any conflict with Iran except in cases of an imminent attack against the US. Neither the US nor Iran has declared plans for further military action. Iran this week fired missiles at Iraqi bases housing American forces, injuring no one after the US last week killed a senior Iranian commander in a Baghdad drone strike. Thursday's measure directed the president to terminate the use of United States armed forces against Iran unless granted congressional authorization. It offered an exception when necessary to defend against an imminent armed attack on the US. Even if the House measure clears Congress, it would not face a potential Trump veto because it's known as concurrent resolution, which does not require a presidential signature. The proposal cited the 1973 War Powers Act, which granted Congress the ability to check the president's power to commit the US to armed conflicts. But legal questions remain unresolved as to whether Congress can use a concurrent resolution to bind the president. The Democratic leader of the House, Speaker Nancy Pelosi, said earlier on Thursday she did not believe Mr. Trump had made the US safer after last week's drone strike that killed Iranian commander Qasem Soleimani. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy of California called the resolution a meaningless vote, while Republican House Whip Steve Scalise dismissed it as a press release. Mr. Trump, a Republican, had tweeted that he hoped all House Republicans will vote against crazy Nancy Pelosi's war powers resolution. He also made a new claim about the intelligence behind the air raid, telling reporters at the White House that Iranians were looking to blow up our embassy in Iraq. Speaking later at a campaign rally in Toledo, Ohio, Mr. Trump said Soleimani was actively planning new attacks and he was looking very seriously at our embassies. And not just the embassy in Baghdad, but we stopped him and we stopped him quickly and we stopped him cold. The War Powers resolution gathered momentum after a congressional briefing on Wednesday by administration officials seeking to justify the attack. Following the briefing by the Secretary of State, Defense Secretary, and CIA Director, two Republican senators broke ranks. Mike Lee of Utah and Rand Paul of Kentucky said they might back a similar resolution in the Senate seeking to limit the president's war powers. Their potential defection raises the chances for the measure in the upper chamber, where Republicans hold a 53-47 majority.